Hi there, welcome to Subpar Stitches. My name is Hillary and this is my Flosstube channel. So this is going to be detrimentally long. I can already feel it. I'm just kind of recovering from having lost my voice due to screaming at Stitch North too much. So that's going to be fun for me by the end of this video. But I have quite a lot to talk to you guys about today. It's been 3 weeks since my last update because last week would have been my normal 2 weeks, but you know, Stitch North. And then I have some whips, some new starts, some finishes that I rounded out the month of October, and I've got haul. I've got a lot of haul, too much haul from Stitch North, and then other things. And then I will do a little bit of a Stitch North recap somewhere along the way, as well as talking about plans. And I think that's everything I'm going to cover. As per usual, the whole video will be timestamped, so if you're like, I only care about one timestamp in your video, check the description box, it's timestamped. And as per usual, I will have the names of every pattern / project I've worked on in chronological order of when I spoke about them in the description box, and if I have a link to it, I will link to that as well, so easy for you guys to hop on over. If you see a pattern you like and you're like, I want that, that way you can just, you know, hop on over there, because I know sometimes my speech is bad. I have a crappy accent, and also I'm deaf, so it makes it even harder sometimes to know if I'm enunciating. So sometimes I will watch back my video and I'm like, what was I saying there? So hopefully you guys understand me better than I understand me. But for now, let's just hop right in, and I like to start with the finishes in my little process here. So I did finish 7 more smalls between yesterday and the last video that you guys saw, and that left me with a total of 13 smalls for fall / Halloween. That wasn't what I intended to, like when I set out, I was just like, I'm gonna do as many smalls as I can for Halloween. And then I was stitching my 12th small and I was like, I should do 13 for Halloween, you know? Also, side note, but if the lighting is exceptionally bad in this video, it's because I have a really nice Elgato ring light that my friends bought me for my birthday a few years ago to like help me with my YouTube channel, because I started out doing nail polish videos, which is over on my channel, Mediocre Manis. Somehow, through the course of the past couple of years, I managed to fray the cord that plugs in that light. And today, when I plugged it in, I heard a very strange crackle pop, and then I smelled smoke, and I looked down, and it was, in fact, smoking. I said, okay, we're gonna not use the light. So I have my phone set up in front of me in that ring light because it's a great height, great stand. And then I have a crappy Amazon ring light behind it. So I'm thinking I need to go get another light. Give me a second. Okay, now I have 2 crappy Amazon ring lights, so hopefully the lighting's slightly better. So back to the finishes. So my first finish was Tomato Witch, and this is by Lucy Beam, and this is kind of like a sequel to Tomato Santa, which I stitched last year for Christmas. This one I started on October 9th, I finished on October 10th. Really quick to stitch up. It's stitched on this, I'm looking at my Notion because I can't remember anything for the life of me, but it's stitched on a 28 count linen in the color Natural, or maybe it's just Natural Linen, I don't know. It's by Ginny Thompson. I just picked this linen up off of the freebie table at StitchCon in the summer, and I just thought, you know, it looked cute on here. And the thing I really like about this is it's hard to pick up on camera, but that spider webbing is an étoile thread, which if you're going to use any kind of DMC specialty thread, that's the best one because it is not as finicky as the rest. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. Maybe I'll turn it into a little bitty pillow at some point in my life, but I just want her to release tomatoes for every season. They're really quick to stitch up because, what is this? It's like 4 colors, 5 colors. I think the face is like brown. I think it's a brown. It almost looks black, but I'm pretty sure the face was a brown and then the hat was black. So in total, like 5 colors, very, very quick and easy. Like I said, it only took me about 2 days. Then the next day I was working from home, and so I just grabbed the Just Cross Stitch magazine that I had with all the Halloween stuff, and I flipped through until I saw something that really kind of stood out to me, and that was Trick or Sweep. This is by Flossie Fox Shop. I've always wanted to do a Flossie Fox Shop pattern. They have such a nice color palette, very cutesy, very like pixelated, fun design. Reminds me of like older video games. And this is stitched on a 28 count white even weave that I had in stash. I think it's just like a DMC or something like that. I don't know. But I started and finished this just in one go on October 11th. Really quick to stitch up. It does have quite a few colors for how itty bitty it is. It's so funny too, because like I saw this, I was like, cute, made a quick working copy so I could like mark stuff off. And because the working copy's in black and white, for some reason I just thought there was like a weird moon cloud thing behind her up until I put the eyes in, and then I was like, that's a ghost. And I'm like, I literally just looked at this design in the magazine in color. Like, I don't know why for like 3 hours I was just like, what is this weird, like, why are there 2 moons here? It's a ghost, Hillary. So, but again, love the color palette. And then after I finished that, the same day, October 11th, I started up this pattern called Tooth Fairy by Night Spirit Studios. This is what the actual pattern looks like. I made a modification to it, and by a modification, I mean I took out a lot of the back stitching because as much as I like the big tooth and like the scalloped kind of border, I'm not into like the wings and the crown, especially not what I'm doing with this. So I just didn't do the back stitching, and then I shifted the actual tooth up so that it was pretty much centered in the middle of that border. And this took me a little bit longer. This was October 11th. I started it. I finished it on the 17th. It's on 18 count Black Ada by Kato, and it's got 5 colors in it. There's an alternate version, which I didn't even realize when I bought this. There's this one that has, you know, all the browns and stuff. And then there's like a grayscale monochromatic version you can stitch, but I like this one. And the reason I wanted to do this is because, avert your eyes if you don't like human teeth. I don't know what to tell you, but I have all these human teeth that I'm going to take twine and tie them in the corners. Maybe I should stop showing you guys my gross teeth. But yeah, I'm going to tie them. I got my wisdom teeth removed last year. That's these ones. I'm going to show them to you again. Why not? But I was only born with 3 wisdom teeth because I'm not wisdomly enough, I guess, to have 4. And so they removed them, and there's only 3. I was like, well, there's 4 corners. What am I going to do? And so then Rob had to get his wisdom teeth removed. And I was like, hey, Rob, could I have your teeth? And he was like, are you going to do something weird with them? And I was like, yeah, duh. So they let me have his teeth, but they like cracked them really badly when they removed them. I'm not going to show you that because that's actually probably going to get me like banned from YouTube because it looks freaky. So I've been kind of playing with them, trying to piece them back together, puzzle piece these teeth back together so that I can glue them back together. And then I'll do like 2 of my teeth and then 2 of his teeth, and then he'll hate it and I'll be so happy. So look forward to that, everyone. My parents will come over and they'll just be like, God, we never should have had children. Then on October 18th, I started and finished. This is the Quirky Quaker Candy Corn by Darling and Whimsy Designs. They have all these quirky Quakers. They're just these little, what are they, octagons? Yeah, they're octagons. And they have just like a variety of different things. They have like a bunch of different animal ones. I bought the cow one. I have that one. And then I bought a few more, which I'll show you guys in a haul. But they're just very cute. This was a freebie on their website, I believe. And it was charted in Sulky. And I was like, hey, I have a bunch of Sulky. Might as well use it. So I did this in all the called fors except for the orange because I didn't have that specific orange. but I like the orange that I did have and I picked out. I thought that it looked nice. And this is on 28 count milk and honey linen that I just had some left over from a project. And who's the dyer? Fiber on a Whim. Yeah, so I was just like, oh, this is like the perfect little scrap size for something like this. I need to see how other people have finished theirs because I feel like it would be a cute, just like little flat ornament piece. But I'm not sure. So if you guys have any ideas, let me know. And then on the 18th, I had finished that. And so I was like, I still got some more stitching in me. So I picked up my magazines again, and I found this really itty bitty one, super quick. This is Halloween Friends, and this is World on a String by Dara, which is another brand that, or designer that I've wanted to play around with their patterns. And this was such an itty bitty, cutesy little thing. And I just used some of my Paranormal by Bestitch Me. I think it's 32 count. Yeah, it's a 32 count even weave. I just had like I had used some earlier and there was like this little kind of excess square that really wouldn't work for anything too big. So I figured I would just use that. I think it looks cute on there. I just like this fabric a lot. So this is one where I could either make like an itty bitty ornament, or if I found a super tiny frame, might look cute in that too. And then this is one I didn't start in October, but I'm counting it because I finished in October. I started it September 13th, finished it October 24th, literally like 30 minutes before I had to hit the road to go pick up my friend so that we could drive up to Stitch North. And this is the Quaker style Halloween sampler. This is by Faithwurks Designs. This is 2 colors. It's 310, and then I think it calls for B5200. I just subbed in Blanc because I have a cone. This cut of fabric, this is how I got it. I bought one of the like mystery offcut packs of Even Weave from Bestitch Me. I think it was last year. And I was like, I need to use some of those. So I went through them and I found this and I thought it would look cool with this, which I was right, it does. And because the original, like the design was stitched on orange, but I just really thought this looked fun. When I counted the stitches, because you don't, when you order that mystery pack, you don't even know the count. Like it's not labeled with the count or like what the dye color was. When I counted it out, I think it came to like 46 count. So that's why this took so long, because it's just so small. So small and delicate. But you can see the ghosts have their little French knot eyes. There's another one over here. And then this is a lot of like straight stitching. The windows are like all like straight / back stitching. It called for colonial knots for the eyes and mouth. I was like, I don't know what that is. Also, I'm not going to Google it because why would I do anything like that? And I'm like, I'm just going to assume that's just another word for French knot. So that's what I did there. And I think it looks pretty cool. This also took a long time because so many of these motifs are just so itty bitty that you have to break your thread a lot. And I didn't want to travel because I was worried. I don't know. I just was worried that the black was going to show through. Although you can see like there's a lot of like excess thread I got to kind of cut away because I haven't done that yet. But yeah, I don't know, like once I cut this off, I don't think there's going to be enough to do much with. We'll see. We'll see what I can do with that. But yeah, I did one strand, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. And then the next one, this one's not Halloween, but it's fall. And I wanted to have 13 finishes, so I'm counting it. And there's no rules, so I can do what I want. This was given out as a kit in our swag bags at Stitch North. And it's, who's the designer? Canadian Stitchery, I believe. And they were there. And they sell these little kits that they have like a wood cut that is cut out and like pre-punched with all the holes. And then they gave us Roxy floss and like a little pattern and you could follow it. And then they gave you this, like, it's a really soft kind of like crushed velvet feeling. And it's like a peel and stick. So you can stick it on the back to cover your back. And this one, even though it is fall, it felt very spooky to stitch on because the way your needle like goes through the wood, it just gives you such a like heebie-jeebie vibe. It doesn't feel good. But it's very cute. Glad I stitched it up. I started it on the 26th while I was at Stitch North, and then I finished it on the 28th, I believe, when I came home. I think that was the day we came home. And it uses like 5 colors. And it was so funny because like they give you like a few pre-cut strands in the thing, and I was like stitching the brown and I like ran out. But then there's all these people running up to the front ringing the bell because they finished theirs, and I was like, how are these people finishing them? I don't even have enough thread in mine. And so I don't know if like they use their own threads or what, but then I think some people let the organizers know, and they were like, hey, we're going to come around with a little bit of extra thread for you guys because there's not enough in there. So they brought a couple extra strands, and then I was able to finish this. So this will just, I'm just going to turn it into a Christmas tree ornament. I got to put some kind of loopy thing through there. I don't know, ribbon. And then the final finish is one that I finished like just under the wire. I finished it yesterday, which when I'm filming this, yesterday was Halloween at like 8 p.m. And I was like, okay, and we're done. We finished all of our Halloween stitching for the month. And this is Cemetery Bands. This is another one from a Just Cross Stitch magazine. This is by Sprouting Lupine. I started this on the 19th, finished it on the 31st, and I stitched it on a 36 count linen by Bestitch Me in the color Summer Sunrise, which is kind of funny to stitch a Halloween pattern on something called Summer Sunrise. But the thing that really drew me to this pattern, first of all, I love Sprouting Lupine, but in this like moon here and in the skeletons' faces and on the gravestones, you use 37.99, 1 strand, and it's like a half cross, and it gives it some visual texture. And then this big old like flowery thing in the center. I'm not entirely sure what that's supposed to be. The 37.99, and that is 1 strand, and it's full cross. So it just, like, from far away, I feel like you can't totally see everything, but up close, that, like, visual texture, that detail is really, really nice. I really enjoyed this one. And this is actually a linen that I won from Bestitch Me when I first found out about Bestitch Me, and then I joined their Facebook group, and they have like a, I don't know if it's like weekly giveaway, but I entered it because I was like, oh, what the heck, why not? And I won, and I was like, well, I guess I'm going to stay here and sign up for everything. So I really like Bestitch Me fabric. If you couldn't tell, like half my stuff was just stitched on Bestitch Me. So that's all my finishes for October. Okay, I had to take a break for a minute because my throat is actively dying. But yeah, that was all of my finishes. So now let's move on to the new starts. I did have 2 new starts. Both were while I was at Stitch North. One is a Sal that our whole table decided to do together. Mostly it was me, Erin, and Amity of the Hathaway Stitchers bullying the rest of our table to join us. And then the other one was very spur of the moment because I found some fabric and floss that I was like, these look perfect together. Now to find a pattern to go with it. Like, that makes sense. So the first one I started, so these new starts will kind of be like mesh with haul just a little bit, just because some of it is haul. So my first new start I have in this really, really cute bag. This is by the 805 Stitcher, and Tara actually brought this to me as a gift because I was telling her how much I loved, because she has this. She got it through like the Black Needle Society, and I was like, I'm so jealous. And she's like, you can buy it on their website. And then I was like, yeah, but no, like, I'm not going to do that because I have this weird thing where I'm like, I don't need to buy bags. I can make them myself. And then I make them myself and they're not good. So I just am like convinced that if I start buying my own bags, I will never stop buying bags. I see how all these other people on Flosstube are buying 10 million bags, and I know that will be me because they're just so fun. But it's a little frog, and it says like, rip it, you know, and it's got a couple little faces. And then in the front, let me take this project out. There's like some embroidery hoops with like little frog faces. And yeah, I had mentioned that I wanted one really bad. It was really cute fabric. And so she ended up picking one up for me while she was at a retreat. And then look, the person who sewed this, like lined up the frog on the zipper, so when you zip him back up, he's no longer headless. Very cute. So that is where my Sal sits, and I will put up a better picture because I don't want to take this out of the package. This is a pattern by Pansy Patch Quilts and Stitchery, and the designer's name is Lori Pengley. And she had this display where there were so far 3 sets of 9, I believe, houses. But there was basically like a spring, autumn, and winter set. And each one had 9 houses themed around it, had like a little house, some little motifs. They each had their own unique border, and then they said like what house they were on them. And we had already kind of been talking like, oh, what should we sell? What should we sell? We got to find something that we can sell while we're here. And Erin and Amity were browsing and buying stuff over there, and they were like, we really like these little houses. And I was like, guys, what if everybody picked their own house? And then we all just had our, like, because the thing I like about Sal's is I like when people do like the same pattern, because, you know, everybody chooses like different fabrics or flosses or something, so you do get some variation. But I also really like when it's like a series of patterns and everyone can pick one that suits them the most. And I was like really gung-ho about this one because already there's 27 different options. Each set had 9 houses that you could choose from. And, oh, it literally says chart 2 of 9. So yeah, 9 houses each. And so there's really something for everyone. And as someone who is not a house stitcher, who doesn't understand people who love to stitch houses, I looked at these and I was like, I love all of them. They're so cute. And there's so many different ones that you can choose from personality wise. We asked her, like, are you really seeing summer ones? And it sounds like she's going to. So Erin and Amity had, I think, I don't know if they both came up with it together or maybe just Erin said this. I can't, it's a whirlwind of a weekend, but had mentioned something about stitching one for every month and making a calendar. And I was like, I want to do that too. So I think that's what I'll end up doing at some point. But I chose the beekeeper house. There were so many I wanted, but I was like, I gotta pick one. And I really liked all the little bees in here. I'm just gonna take it out. See it, like there's like a bee skip, and then they're like around the bottom, and then there's like little bees everywhere, and then the house itself is like similar in colors. So this one has like 16 colors in it, and it has 3 different over-dyed brands used in it, but they do have a DMC conversion. And Erin, Amity, I think Michaela, and then there was another person named Megan at our table. I think like pretty much all of them went up and they were like, we're going to convert the whole thing to Roxy Floss Co. And I went over to see their progress and they were like, oh my God, Hillary, there's 16 colors or whatever in here. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll convert a couple colors. So I'm going to use the DMC predominantly for this, but I did end up converting the brown, the yellow, and the red because those are like the 3 biggest colors in this, and then the DMC will fit. So I'll show you what I chose, but let me find where I'm at so far. So I've only stitched on this twice so far. I bought this little like off cut of, it's like an 1/8 of a yard in their discount bin because they had like anything that was like small or maybe had some kind of like issue with it. There was like a discount bin. So this is a 36 count. I'm about to be very vulnerable with you guys. I can't read cursive. I don't know what the hell this says. Can somebody read what the color says and then tell me, and then it'll be great because SPEA, I have no idea. I don't know what this color is, but it's linen. I can tell you that. And I bought like an 1/8 of a yard because I was just like, I just went over and did a floss toss. And here is where I'm at so far. I got the whole like roof part done while I was at Stitch North. And then when I came home, I just was like, oh, I should add a little bit more. So I put this in. And then I got this bee needle minder while I was at StitchCon, and I was like, oh, that would be perfect for my little beekeeper house. So I usually would not choose a fabric this color because I struggle to understand that you need to have neutrals on hand for stuff. Like, not everything can be brightly colored. Sometimes you need a good neutral. So it was nice that they had them in person. You know, you can take a look, you can toss that floss on there. But I definitely want to put some more work in this. It's been going pretty quickly. I really, really like it. So let me show you the Roxy floss stuff that I chose. So for the yellow on the house, I chose, this one is butterscotch, and the brown, I just kind of like eyeballed it. I didn't like do like a direct comparison. And don't ask me why I cut these to different lengths. I don't know. Am I going to fix it? At some point. But this brown is called Muddy Trail. And then for the red of the house, I chose Merlot. So here they are all together, and you saw them against the fabric there, but I don't know. I think it's a nice little conversion. Although after I did that, I was like, I didn't pick very like variegated ones. So I was like, did I really need to do a floss conversion? Yes, I did. I did. I've never used Roxy Floss Co. until I've heard people talk about the conversions through Evertote, but I've just never used it before. So I like it. I can see as it stitches up a very light variegation. I don't stitch prim very often. And so this is kind of like the perfect kind of colors to go along with that because they look like very, very lightly modeled. So I feel like that's kind of perfect for a prim design. I feel like if it's too modeled or too variegated, it just doesn't look right. But I think this is like just the right amount. I don't know what we decided to call the sal. I just am there for the sal. So I will ask someone and then I will pop the hashtag at the bottom of the screen. So my other new start, which I started on the same day, I was like, I gotta get these starts in. I don't know why. Like, it's just starting things feels more daunting to me than having whips. It takes a lot for me to like get started on something because I hate the process of setting it up. I don't know why. But on the first day of Stitch North, they were setting up the Hand-Dyed by Rolanda stand or table or whatever you want to call it. And Erin from the Hathaway Stitchers, she had seen a fabric that she really wanted. And I like shopping with Erin because she's like, yeah, we should just buy all of this. So I don't feel guilty when I'm like, should I get this? Do I really need this? She's like, yes, you do. And I'm like, okay, cool. Glad we're on the same page. So I decided to go up to the booth with her and take a look. And right when I walked up, this fabric just was like, buy me, Hillary. You must buy me. And I was like, you're right, fabric. I should buy you. And so I love yellow. To all you yellow haters out there, have fun being wrong because this is the most beautiful fabric I've ever seen. It's called Golden Hour, Hand-Dyed by Rolanda. It is a Lugana 32 count, and it was 17 by 26 inches, just in case you wanted to know. So I've never purchased from Hand-Dyed by Rolanda. I've heard people mention her here and there, but I grabbed this, and then she had these hanks of hand-dyed cotton, and they were like, wait, is it a hank? How big is a hank? She had these 50-yard mini hanks. I don't know what is the exact length of a hank. I don't know, but big old things of 50 yards of floss. And I was like, oh, like, and they were really nicely variegated. And I was like, I should find something that goes with this. And then I saw this, and it looks completely black on my monitor. So I feel like that dramatic moment was really lost. But it's a really like deep, winey red purple. And it's called Black Rose. But against this yellow, oh, I spoiled it. Against this yellow, it looks really, really pretty. And I was like, I need something that I can do monochromatic that will look really good on this. So I spent a couple days digging through what I had, and then I went and looked online, and I was like, should I do like a small long dog? Should I do modern folk embroidery? I'm like trying to come up with like all these different designers who I know kind of specialize in single color or very monochromatic stuff. And then I don't know if somebody was like, have you tried one of the ink circles mandalas? And I was like, I don't care for the mandalas. I love ink circles, just the mandalas are not for me because I don't know, when I look at them, I can't. It's like, did you ever do those like magic eye books when you were a kid and like everybody could see the images, but I couldn't see the images? I feel like that's when I look at the ink circles mandalas, I'm like, I can't figure out what's going on here. I love all her arranging series and like a lot of her other patterns. But there's one called the Scrolls of Sumatra. And so that's what I started. So here's where I got. I'm doing 2/2. And it's really hard in this lighting to see the variegation. I can see it in real life. It is a little bit more subtle, but like it is so nice on this fabric. And it's, I believe I measured it out and it should fit. Oops, I dropped it. But it's just, it's such a good fabric. It's really pretty. And I had bought just one at first, and then I kind of did the math and I was like, I think I'm going to need 2. So I just ran back and grabbed a second giant skein of it, and my hair is already wrapped up in this to a crazy degree. But yeah, so also cut this one pretty long. Don't know why. I just really like to stitch with obscenely long threads and then wonder why it always gets tangled. So, but yeah, so I stitched on this a little bit there and a little bit at home, and I've been alternating between, like, I like started a strand in the border and I did a strand in this motif, and then I did a strand in the border, and then I did a strand in the motif, and then I did a strand in the border, and then I just am kind of like alternating back and forth. Each border is a slightly different design. So like it'll be 4 like distinct borders, which I like that, because if you do a border on a piece this big and it's all the same, it can get boring. So I like that they mixed it up, but also just straight shot doing the border can get a little boring. So I like my swap back and forth method so far. And this project I put in the most insane project keeper I will ever own. This was gifted to me by Erin and Amity of the Hathaway Stitchers, and you guys are not gonna, you're just gonna be like, what is that? Why, what's going on? But they made table gifts for everybody. So everybody got one of these like portfolio type things, and they really customized the fabric to each person. So on the outside of mine, it's Shrek wearing a sombrero because I love Shrek, and crazy. And then it's got like the green kind of accent fabric here to go with it. And then when you open it up, it becomes even more unhinged, because we have the coleslaw side, because I love coleslaw. But the best thing about this particular fabric is whoever designed it, like they didn't even like make like a big solid image. It's like you can see the JPEG like repeating over and over. So it just makes it even crazier. And then like the inside fabric here is all bugs, because I really love bugs. I have a dead bug collection. And then on the other side, we got macaroni and cheese, which is such a cute fabric. I love food fabrics. They're very fun. But this coleslaw one really takes the cake. So I've got my Scrolls of Sumatra living in here. And then I have one project that I'm starting today, which I'll talk about in plans, that will also go in here on the other side. I like that I'm keeping all my projects that I started or like kitted up at like stitch retreats in bags that people have given me at stitch retreats. So I have my House Salin, the one that Tara gave me, and then my Scrolls of Sumatra, and the one I'm going to start today that I kitted up there in this. Okay, so that just leaves me with my whips, and I had 2 regular whips, and then of course my Stitch a Day project. So the first whip I worked on, and this was while I was at Stitch North, is my Quaker sampler. So here is what the full sampler looks like. This is a Star Parade Designs pattern. I bought this over on Etsy, And I'm stitching this on a 32 count blue spruce linen, which is from Zweigart. It's the called for. I'm using the called for threads as well, which is the Gentle Arts linen is what the color is called. And here is where I was the last time. I didn't put, I don't think I put a ton into this. In fact, I think I put almost nothing into this. But here is where I am now. Could use an iron. The linen, as you can see, just the light like coming through it, the weave is very like, it moves around a lot. This is something that can easily be fixed with some like fiddling, but where it was in my Nurge hoop, it kind of pushed that weave apart. But like I said, like if I just kind of do a little of this, it all kind of balances back out. I'm not worried about it is what I'm trying to tell you. But I'm almost to the bottom. I think I have like just a little bit more down here, but all I did was I put in this whole line, I think, and like I think that's it. I had already put that line in once, and then I messed up, and so I had to pull it all out, and then I was like, I'm done for a while. So I hadn't stitched on this in a little while, and then I went back and I put that line in, and then I don't know why I stopped. I feel like I definitely could have done more on this one, but I am 51, almost 52% done with this. So we're getting there. We're making progress. It's looking good. And I'm stitching it 1/2 linen threads, which is something that has caused me so much mental turmoil for literally no reason. I don't know. I like it, but at the same time, I'm like, I wish I'd used 2 because I bought enough thread to do 2/2. So now I'm just going to have 8 bajillion extra skeins of this very particular type of white from Gentle Arts, and I don't know. I'm sure I will very easily find a use for it. I guess like a white like this is very flexible. I can use it in a lot, but at the same time, I wish I hadn't bought 11 skeins of it when I'm only going to need like 5.5. So good job, Hillary. And then my second whip that I worked on was Love Bug Sampler. This is by Sprouting Lupine. At one point, I think like half of our table, like this wasn't even planned, but like half our table had Sprouting Lupine patterns out, and we were all like actively working on them at the same time. This piece I started kind of as like a, I can't even think of what you would call it, but like my fiance and I got engaged, and I was like, I'm going to do this as like a remembrance of that. Bro, my brain is fried. So I put a little bit into this, not a ton, but we got engaged on December 30th, and I wanted to finish this before like the first anniversary of that. I don't know how well that's going to go. But here is where I currently am at. I finished the cicada save for the back stitching in the wings. And then I think I did, this line was already in there. And then I started putting in some of these hearts, and then I had some other stuff to do. I don't know. I don't know why I stopped right there, but I really like this. It's on 32 count Sprite Lugana from Picture This Plus, which is the called for fabric. It's very like tone on tone. So some of these colors are harder to immediately see, but it gives it such a more like delicate kind of lacier look. And there is a octagon, I think, that goes right here. And on the original, I think it had a date in there. And then along the side, there were bugs and initials. And I kind of swapped that, and I'm putting in that octagon, I recharted it on Stitch Fiddle. I'm putting my initials plus Rob's initials. And then instead of like the 3 initials on the side, I am putting numbers. So it'll be the date we got engaged. So it'll be 12/30/23. And I just thought it'd be cute because I love a good bug, and this is called Love Bugs. And so why not? And there's so many more Sprouting Lupine patterns that I want to do. Erin from the Hathaway Stitchers was stitching and finished this one during Stitch North, and between the pattern colors and the fabric she had chosen, it was just like the most stunning combination. And I was just like, yes, I need more of these. Okay, so that means my final whip is my A Year in Stitches project, which, if you don't know, if you're new here, this is a project that I started at the beginning of this year. And every single day I just pick one thing and I design or I find some kind of small motif that centers around that. And the max dimensions for each motif are 20 by 20. So it can be a little bit difficult. I'm not a designer, but like I've designed a lot of these and it's been a very interesting process. I really respect designers because it's not easy to translate an idea sometimes to something so small. But I've gotten designs from various books. Like I said, I've made some of my own. I've searched pixel art, like all kinds of stuff. So the last one I left off was on October 8th. This is a soda can from Makoto Ozu. Actually, I think it was a soup can in his book, but I made it look like a soda can, and that was because I tried the Oreo Coke, which leads us into the next one. So this is a kimbap, and this is self-drafted. I had bought this microwave kimbap from Meijer, which, if you don't know what either of those things are, Meijer is a Midwestern grocery store, and it's not a Fred Meyer. I don't know why I feel like I need to clarify this all the time, but I'm like, it's not a Fred Meyer, even though the guy who founded its name was Fred Meyer. It's spelled M-E-I-J-E-R. No Y in there. Anyways, history of Meyer complete. So yeah, I had it, you microwave it, made my tummy hurt. Oh yeah, kimbap. Kimbap is a Korean rice and vegetable roll, and sometimes there's meat in there. I really like it. I don't know. But the Meijer microwavable one, weird. The next one is this little caution sign here. That's a Makoto Ozu design. And that one is because that day I forgot to take my meds and I had just a little bit of a mentee bee. And Rob was like, "Did you take your meds?" And I was like, "Don't ask me that." But I had not. So he was correct in asking me that. The next one is this little plant here. And that is from the Cute Kawaii Cross Stitch book. And that is because my plants have mites and I cannot get rid of them. And it is making me mad. And I've tried so many things and it's just not working out. And I have a huge monstera and I just don't want it to be mighty anymore. This is a baby rattle because I went to a baby shower at my friend's house. Not because I am pregnant, because I am not. This is my friend who is pregnant. And that one is self-drafted. And I did pink on the yellow there because they're having a girl this time. This is a little game controller that is from Makoto Ozu. And that's because Rob and I just watched Let's Plays all day on YouTube. Which are just like, you just watch people play video games instead of playing the video games yourself, which sounds crazy, but I like it, I guess. And then this is an ant, which is a pixel art that I found. And that one is just because I was like super antsy all day. I just kept getting up at work and like wandering into our warehouse, which is just a really big garage, and just walking in circles because I felt like I was going to lose my mind. This is a leaf from the Cute Kawaii Cross Stitch book, and that's because I went for a walk that day, and there was just so many big crunchy leaves to step on, and I loved that. I like to step on the crunchy leaves. This is a little boxing glove that I got from the Makoto Ozu books, and that's because two of my coworkers got in a very, I don't know if you'd call it a fight. I mean, it wasn't physical, but they were definitely fighting, and I was just sitting at my desk like, what's going on over there? And then next is a gold medal, and this one day I'll get these like centered on the screen for you guys. But I had a super productive day, so I awarded myself this gold medal, and this is a Makoto Ozu design. This is a little hot air balloon, which I self-drafted, and that's because I went for a walk, and I saw a hot air balloon, and I was like, what are you doing out here? Like, what is the purpose? It's one, like, I understand like hot air jubilees where there's like a billion of them, but just like one lone hot air balloon, I'm like, this is suspicious. Like, what are you guys doing? This is self-drafted. It's the Cricut logo, And that's because I woke up Saturday morning, the week before Stitch North, and I was like, I gotta make table gifts. And so I was like on my Cricut half the day, like pumping stuff out. Next. Oh, this is a bee, and this one is from some pixel art. Rob and I had gone, I think we went to the mall to walk around, and as we were walking up to the mall, we saw this fat bee, like it was just a huge bee, and it landed on this flower, and we were like, oh, look at this bee, and then we're just standing there like staring at it like normal people do when you see a fat bee, and then all of a sudden the petal of the flower just broke under the weight of the bee, and he just kind of like fell to the ground. I don't know why, that was just really funny to me. I was like, that's very cute. This is a hard-boiled egg, and it is self-drafted. I brought some hard-boiled eggs for lunch because I'm on a hard-boiled egg kick right now. I love a hard-boiled egg. I love beige foods. I love cottage cheese, hard-boiled eggs, coleslaw. Love them all. But see, here's the thing. I had just gotten my truck detailed. So then I had all these hard-boiled eggs that I didn't pre-peel, but I eat in my car because I don't want anybody to ever talk to me at work, because if I'm on lunch, don't talk to me about work, but they do. So I just sit in my car and I listen to my podcasts and I cross stitch and I eat my hard-boiled eggs. So like I needed to bust them open, and I was just like, what do I do? So I just kind of smashed them on the center console. Like there's like a armrest thing with like cups, and I like broke them open on that, and then like egg dust got everywhere because like when you crack the shell, it just kind of like powdered up into existence. Plus there was some like shell pieces, and yeah, so there was egg dust all over my car when I picked up Tara from the airport, and I didn't mention it to her until I pulled this out at Stitch North, and they were like, is that an egg? What's the story with that? So I had to explain that there's like egg dust all over my car, and everybody's reaction was, didn't you just get it detailed? And I was like, okay, listen. But the other thing too is I smashed the egg too hard, and so I ended up crushing the egg, and I was like, well, I'm hungry. So I had to like peel the shell off of all this crushed egg. It was a tragic day for me. This is like a crunched up version of the FedEx logo, because at work I ship a lot of stuff through FedEx, and you know, as you know, I hope you know this. If you don't, learn this. There's FedEx Ground and there's FedEx Express, and two different trucks come to pick up FedEx Ground and FedEx Express. And so I had just a big pile of FedEx Ground boxes by the door. And when there's boxes by the door at my job, that signifies if FedEx comes, hand them all. Like, hand all the ground ones to the ground person, hand all the express ones to the express person. And it's understood, and everyone does that. Or so I thought. Because I had this stuff that had to go out urgently, but I also had to ship it by FedEx Ground. Don't ask, it's a whole thing. And you can't same day schedule a FedEx Ground pickup. And so I had to ship it, like I had to schedule it the day before, and I had like 3 or 4 boxes over there. And the doorbell went off, and one of my coworkers went over there, and then like maybe 30 minutes later, I happened to walk by the door, and I was like, why are all but one of the packages still here? So I went up to my coworker and I was like, hey, did FedEx come? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, why are the packages still here? And she's like, well, I handed it to FedEx and they didn't ask me for more, so I didn't give them the rest. And I was like, why would you do that? So I'm like on the phone with FedEx being like, can you please send them back? And they wouldn't do it. And they were like, you have to do it for tomorrow. And then everyone was like, you can just go drop them off at FedEx. And I was like, yeah, but I'm not getting paid to do that, so I'm not doing it. I do my entire job, but if you're not paying me for parts of my job, I'm not doing those parts of my job. I'm sorry. I don't make enough money as it is. I'm not doing extra work. I'm really good at my job. I just am not going to go out of my way because there's no upward momentum here. So I'm just like, I'm not driving to the FedEx. Miss me with that. The next one is probably not even recognizable. This is like a Makoto Ozu pattern. And it said it was a sandal, but I thought it looked like a Croc. And my dad texted me and was like, "It's National Croc Day." My dad hates Crocs. Like, he thinks they're like the worst thing that was ever invented. But I love Crocs. So the fact that he wished me a happy National Crocs Day, I was like, all right, Dad. This is the Canadian flag. This is a Makoto Ozu pattern, and that's because that day I drove to Canada for Stitch North. Tara of Wilda Woman Crafts, she flew into the Detroit airport, and then I was like, noom, and picked her up, and then we crossed the border together, which I think she regrets because, you know, I have traveled to a lot of countries. I have lived in another country twice, but every time that I do that, like, I fly there. So, like, going through customs is just like different in an airport. You're like ready for it. But I don't know what it is. I drove up and the guy at the border was like, "Where are y'all headed today?" And I turned to Tara and I was like, "Where are we going?" Like, that's not like the biggest red flag for a border agent. And I was just like, why did I do that? But somehow they let us through. And then the next day I put this compass, which is like a pixel art I found, and that's because that was the first day of Stitch North, and I was like, North? Compass? That works. This is a lotus flower. This is from the Makoto Ozu books, and that's because where we were in Canada, it was like Brampton, Ontario, and they have a really, really big Indian population, and at that point in the month, Diwali was coming up, and so like everywhere we went, like even like the Walmart was decorated and had like a bunch of stuff for Diwali preparations, which was really cool, you know, because I don't like where I live, we don't have like a huge Indian population. We have a bigger like Muslim population. So we see more of like that kind of prep and celebration for like Muslim holidays. So it's interesting to kind of get like a new like taste or perspective. And the amount of Indian food I ate while I was there is obscene. It was so good. But like the Diwali preparations are so pretty. Like all the decor is like beautiful, and the desserts are really good. So I put that little lotus flower in there for that. And then, so this is a passport. This is self-drafted. It says US pass, and then I was going to put port, and I gave up. And then in the middle of the US passport, there's a big old eagle, and I just made this circle that now that I'm looking at it, kind of looks like a butthole. But I used metallic thread, so it's a metallic butthole. Very cool, Hillary. Everybody's happy you said that. And that is because, once again, when Tara and I were crossing the border to come back to the US, I was like, okay, I'm ready. I've studied. I know where I was, so they'll not get me again. And the guy was like, "Where are you coming from?" And I was like, with all the confidence in the world, I was like, "Ontario." And he was like, "That's a whole county." Like, he was mad. Like, he did not like me. And then I panicked because I was just like, oh, I didn't know he wanted like the exact latitude and longitude and like a snapshot for proof. Like, I'm so sorry that I can't remember the city. And so then Tara saved the day, and she was like, "We were in Brampton." And I was like, okay. And then as I was thinking about it, I was like, it's not a whole county. It's a whole province, you beehole. I was so mad. He was not very nice to me, and I was like, I'm very sorry that I don't know where I am at any given time, and I rely on the GPS, and if the GPS told me to drive through the wall of a store, I would do it. I would do it with no questions asked, because I trust the GPS with my whole heart. So, but we didn't get detained at the border, so that was good. Sorry, Tara. So that was on Sunday, and then on Monday, this is Rob, my fiance, because I hadn't seen him all weekend, and I don't see Rob much through the week as it is, because he gets home kind of late from his job, and then he goes in pretty early, so he has to go to bed kind of early. So like during the week, we get like maybe like an hour a night together, and at that point he's very tired, and I'm cross-stitching, so So he kind of offhandedly made a joke on Sunday. He's like, I should just like call into work and we could hang out all day. And I was like, yeah, let's do that. So he called off. We went to Costco and got hot dogs, and we just hung out. It was a good day. And then the next day, this is a KFC bucket. This is a pixel art I found. while we were in Canada at the Walmart, Rob specifically was like, I want like ketchup chips, all dressed chips, and Kraft dinner, which is just mac and cheese, but they call it Kraft dinner in Canada. And so they have like different flavors than we do. And it was so funny because I was like, we got to get the KD, you guys. And Michaela, who is actually, from Canada, she was like, you guys are like, what are you doing? Because we all like got a bunch of Kraft macaroni and cheese, and she actually went and checked out in a different line at the grocery store because she was too embarrassed to be seen with all of us buying like 6 boxes of Kraft mac and cheese. But they had a special edition flavor that was a crossover with KFC. So Rob and I made that this day. It was fine. It just tasted like they put oregano in the mac and cheese. That's really all it is. This is August 30th. That is a frowny face. Actually, it was a happy face in the Makoto Ozu book, and then I just turned his little smile upside down because they fired FedEx girl, and her account's trashed. And it has been very stressful. It's not been a great week at work. I was like, well, really came down from that Stitch North high, so that has been headache inducing. I'm so glad that as I'm filming this, it's Friday and I don't have to think about it for 2 days. And then finally, this is a jack-o'-lantern. This is self-drafted. I made a bunch of little patterns for people for my table gift, and then for Halloween, I was just like, oh, I should use one of those. So it's that little pumpkin there. And Rob and I last night, we got chicken wings, which is like his favorite food. I don't know why. Chicken wings are just okay. And then we watched Over the Garden Wall, which is like one of my favorite shows, and ate candy. And so that was a nice Halloween for us. So those were all of my whips, and now I just have some haul, and like maybe I'll talk a little bit about like Stitch North, but my voice is like just about done, so I don't know how much of that I can get out. And then I will tell you my plans and we'll be done because this video is ballooning. So here is my like bag. I actually feel like I was pretty reasonable for the most part. So I showed you guys the 2 project bags that I got. One was one of the table gifts. Another thing that Erin and Amity gave us was this long Furby needle minder, because they kind of get, I think it was Amity was getting them a bunch in her algorithm on Instagram, and then we just started talking about long Furbies a bunch, and then it's just become kind of a thing. And so they found these long Furby pins in like a bunch of different colors, and they're kind of like, I don't know if you can see, like they have like this pearlescent swirl going on. So I was like, this is my new favorite needle minder. Like I need a freaky project to stick that on for sure. And I'm just kind of going in no particular order. I'm just going to pull stuff out of the bag. This is going to be my new start for today, but this is, what do you call it? So I bought the stuff I would need to stitch Jan Hicks Creates Colors of Mexico, because that was after I finished Meditation Garden. I kind of had my eye on that one, and it's really pretty. And so I bought a half yard of fabric. This is like it folded in half, but I got a good chunk of this fabric. This is 40 count linen from Roxy Floss Co. in the color Cloud Break. And I just figured I'd go for like a nice neutral, because Colors of Mexico is incredibly, incredibly colorful. Today, as I'm filming this, it's Dia de los Muertos, or like day 1 of celebrations. And so I was like, maybe, like actually Erin suggested, she was like, you should start it on Dia de los Muertos. And I was like, good idea. So this is one of the projects, the other project that's going to be in my Shrek bag. And I ended up doing kind of a rough on-the-fly conversion to Roxy Floss Co. from, I just like Googled pictures of all the DMC that are used in it, and then I just kind of picked some Roxy Floss to sort of match it. And if something doesn't look right along the way, I can change it because I'm the boss of this project. But here are all the colors. There's like some reds and stuff like that are like hidden. But I felt like all of these colors pretty much would pop against this. I think the only one where I'm like, maybe we'll have a little issue. Oh no, I feel like that'll be fine. It'll all work out. But yeah, I'm gonna do it 1/2 on 40 count. So I feel like one skein of each should probably be enough. And if it's not, I'll figure something out. But yeah, I did order the pattern, but I got it digitally, and because it's a huge pattern. I did not want to deal with a paper pattern that size, especially with this many colors. So I'm excited to start this after work today, because I'm working right now. It's a slow day. No, it's not, but I finished most of my stuff, so it's fine. There was a dyer there called the Sewing Shop Ink, and I just don't know a ton of brands, so like a lot of this stuff, even though I've been stitching for a long time, I'm like, this is all new to me, because I just don't buy a ton of like the hand-dyed stuff, because like I'm scared. It's expensive and it's tough to buy when you're not like seeing it in person. But she had these packs of just like almost like ornament cuts that were really cheap, and so I bought this like pack where there's like a bunch of just different ornament cuts, and because you guys know me, I love my smalls, I just thought this would be a really good addition to my stash. I got this fat quarter of 40 count linen, and this one is called Nothing Rhymes with Orange. Orange? What a word. But again, I just was like, I need some spooky, grungy, kind of yellowy orange fabric, and this dyer just has some really, really cool stuff. So I don't really have a lot of stash fabric at this point, so I just was like, I should buy, you know, a bunch of stash fabric. I bought this kind of weird cut of 36 count linen, and this is called Watercolor Falls. It's a half yard, but it's almost like, it's like really, really long. Hang on a second. It's super rainbowy, very long. I thought it was really cool. And I thought, I want to do something long on it, like either this way or like bell pull style. But honestly, I think I would like to do it like lengthwise. And I feel like something like monochromatic, like if I did black thread on this and like just really let the fabric speak for the pattern, you know, I think it would be really cool. So if anybody has or knows of some really, really long skinny patterns, whether they go up and down or whether they go portrait or landscape, I guess is how you would say that, let me know in the comments, because I'm dying to find something. Like, this is such a beautiful fabric. Like, as soon as I picked it up, I was like, I do need that, don't I? And then the next day I went back over there, and she had another piece, but this one, I gotta look at my notes here. It's 32 count linen, dyed the same, but like it's a different size cut on a different color base fabric. So this is 27 inches by 27 inches, and it's got like the rainbow dripping down here too. And I'm just like, what should I stitch on this? Because these fabrics are very special and very cool, and I need to find something worthy of them. You know what I mean? So I had to get both of those rainbow ones. Oh, this is psycho. Erin and Amity gave me this as well. It's like a pillow case, like for your couch or something. And it's just cottage cheese. Just like the weirdest cottage cheese fabric. So I need to find a pillow that will fit in this, and then I'm putting it on my couch in my living room. And everyone's going to be like, what is going on in Hillary's house? But the cottage cheese pillow, the cursed cottage cheese pillow. This was the little kit that everybody got. I think they have a few left on their website if you wanted to buy one, but you know, up to you. Tara made us all these, my hair is just all over everything. She made us these like coffee cup holders, and the yarn, I think she called it like tubing yarn. It's like really, really thick. I think it's like got cotton or something on the inside of it. and it's really sturdy, like it's pretty stiff. So I was getting a Starbucks every morning and then like putting it in here, and I was able to like hold this with a full Starbucks and it would remain like steady, and it really protected your hands from the heat. It was perfect. So this was really nice to have. This was a little table gift, and I'm trying to remember who, because a few people at the table sewed, and I can't remember who made what when it came to some of that stuff, because like once you first sit down, everybody's like table gift, and I'm like, I don't know what's coming from where, but I love like Dr. Seuss, so we've got thing 1 and thing 2, and then 1 fish, 2 fish, a red fish, a blue fish, and it's cool because it like folds down very nicely, and then you can use it as just like a trinket tray or whatever. I'll probably put it next to my computer to catch all my like flosses that I've been using and then need to go back into my drawer. This is, it's called a tacky bill. I bought this from Hand Dyed by Rolanda, and this is great for like beading, and the amount of beads that I've spilled into my couch, I'm going to be grateful that I bought this. And like they had a few different designs. I just like the party balloons. These are from Chandria, and she even put her like Chandria Carroll stitches, like her little label in here. But I think they're supposed to be like a needle book. I was just sticking orts in them. As you can see here, I was cramming orts into these guys. But I think, I don't know how I ended up with 2. I don't know if I was supposed to end up with 2. But we have the moose one, and then this, I really like this like fabric that's like super colorful. I really like the beetle up here. So those are nice. This is a thread bed, I believe, and this was in, I think this was in our like swag bag, or maybe somebody gave this to us. I can't remember now. There's so much, you're getting so much stuff from people that it's just, it becomes like your brain just forgets everything. Or maybe mine's just a bad brain. But very Halloween, very cute. This seems like something that would be really like a nice, simple, quick project to make. Like if you needed to make a bunch of like gifts for stitchy people, I feel like this would be a really nice, easy one. This was, I believe this one was from Michaela, because it has, well, it had candy in there. I think I ate all of it. I shoved a bunch of stuff in here too. So got myself a Dr. Pepper sticker. This was in my little pattern folder from Erin and Amity. This is from the Grateful Needle. Somebody was definitely handing these out or something. But I remember I got to choose one. I chose a little ghost. Oh, these are from Megan, who was at our table, and she was super cool. I'm so glad she sat with us. She did these like floss drops, and this one's got, it's like snowy, like a snowy photo, and then it's got this ring that has a little like, paw charm, little paw charm on it. But then she's got a moose. This was in her backyard, and I stared at these for like 2 days, and then finally I was just like, why did you put Darth Vader in this picture? Because I legit thought she like photoshopped in this like little Darth Vader. She goes, oh no, that's a sticker on my window. This was in my backyard. And I was like, oh, that somehow that makes more sense. But here is Megan's Instagram if you are interested. She was really fun to sit with. We were like worried because it was like we all knew each other, but then like Tara knew and Megan kind of knew each other from like Black Needle Society, but we were like, are we gonna scare this woman away by how weird we are? And she fit right in, fit like a glove. It was perfect. And so that was really cool. And then this there was a woman who was just giving out like thread drops, and it's Lisa from Forest City Stitching, and she came by the table and I was like, I want snail thread drops. And I just love that like on the back, you know, you have all this like spots to list everything, and then it just says photo snail in my front yard. And I'm like, it doesn't get more direct than that. I love bugs. There was a booth there called Monkey and Mouse, and they had these little like zipper charms, and it came with a needle threader that was in our swag bag. Erin just gave me this. It says, I deserve a little treat. I was like, oh, that's cool. And she's like, here you go, you can have it. I have another one. I was like, oh, okay. Oh yeah, Chandria gave us all needles, which was nice. You can always use more. And she also gave us all earrings. And there was like a few different Halloween ones to choose from. And I chose little candy corn ones. So I used to have these plugs because like I've got, you know, big old holes in my ears. I used to have these plugs that had like a slot to stick in like posts like this. And I need to find them. And then Tara had this like weird, like springy thing that it's like, it's like a fidget toy, but it kind of like, you just like run it on your finger or whatever. And it kind of like, definitely like if you got an itch or like it massages your finger, it's kind of cool. She gave one to Rob because Rob loves fidget toys and he's been obsessed with it. There was Simply Stitched, who they gave out these cards that they have like a corner measurer, and it came with this little charm here, little key, so that's nice. Oh, Erin and Amity, they gave us also this little like Mill Hill Goose kit, and they stuck on the most insane needle. I thought the Furby was crazy. Look at this needle minder. It's insane. So that's one that's going to go on a special project. I bought this needle minder from Stitch North. I thought that was really cool. Somebody handed out some mini needle minders. I picked a spider. And then here's another one where I was just like, Erin, that's so cool. Where'd you get it? She goes, oh, I have another one. You can have this. I was like, okay, thanks. And then I think this one came in our bag too. And it's like just some acrylic with a leaf, like a baby little leaf housed in it. So I thought that was fun. Hand Dyed by Rolanda had a thread in the bags that they gave us. This one is called Raven, which is a really nice color, just like a really good alternative to a black. And then like some of the Roxy floss was on sale. So if they had like an X on it, that meant it was like a discount bargain, like discontinued one. And it was like, if you bought X amount, it costs whatever. I don't know. Money is not real. It's real. I just don't want it to be. But I needed a few more to like round out up to that number. So I grabbed a few that really stood out to me. So this is Neon Lights. And yeah, this is like a Roxy floss. And then there was some that were Leo and Roxy. And I know that like now it's called Roxy Floss Co., but it used to be Leo and Roxy. And I'm like, who's Leo? I'm nosy and I want to know. But this is called Creamsicle, and I love creamsicles, so I bought that. And then Goldilocks, because once again, love a good yellow. So, you know, got those. I think these little scissors came in our bag, and they are quite finely tipped. These are pretty nice. And I was like, I pulled these out and I looked at them. I was like, oh my gosh, these are really sharp. And Rob was like, how do you know that? I'm like, because I'm looking at them. And he's like, how do you know just by looking? I'm like, bro, you can tell if something's sharp. Like, stop being dumb. This somebody put on the freebie table, and it's got like some finishing stuff. And I just, again, love a good bug. I actually almost bought this World of Cross Stitching magazine like a million times because this was like an add-in. Every time I go to Joann's, I was like, I should get that because those are cute. And then I just never did. And then I got it for free off the freebie table. So that was cool. We got some other patterns in our bags. This one is Autumn Leaf, and this is by Anne's Crafts. It looks very detailed. It's got 21 colors in it. This Pansy Patch Quilts. This is Tea Garden Pin Pillow. So that one, oh, definitely didn't even show you right. This is really, really cute. I'm really digging their designs, and I'm not even like a very prim stitcher, so that's interesting for me. And then this one's called Let Not the Morrow Your Vain Thoughts Employ. And it's like this little tray right here. And this is by Schoolhouse Samplers. So those were all in the bags. Somebody dropped this 2016 Christmas ornaments from Just Cross Stitch on the freebie table. And there's a few like cardinal ones in there that I'd like to stitch. So I picked that up. And then they saw this map of Michigan. It's like, oh, this is Sue Hillis. It's from 1979, and I can't even show you because it's like, it's just the chart, but it's like a map of Michigan, and I thought that would be kind of fun to stitch because I'm from Michigan, but like, look at how ancient this paper is. So that's cool. It's cool just to have it. And then this one is from a really insane book that Erin and Amity found at a cross stitch store. The book is called Low Calorie Stitching, and they were all like diet themed patterns. But this says, and again, it's like a hand charted pattern, so I don't think I can show you, but it says, can we ever have too much of a good thing? I think she sent me a picture of the pattern stitch, so I will pop up a picture. And it's got like a Diet Cola, cottage cheese, and then like some snacks in each corner. And so I'm going to rechart the Diet Cola to be a Dr. Pepper because I love Dr. Pepper. And then we'll have the cottage cheese, and then I'll put like snacks in either corner too. So she bought that and ripped it out of the book for me. And I was like, heck yeah. And then I bought some patterns from Tiny Modernist. And so I got the Edgar Allan Poe tree, and it says like Nevermore on there. I really like this very like muted monochromatic look. She had Halloween Terrarium, and I really loved the skeleton underground on that one. I got Bobbing for Apples because I like the guy with the pumpkin on his head. I got Strawberry Cow, which is just like an itty bitty little thing. I just thought it was cute. And then this one I think came in our bags as well. This one's Small Fall Sewing, and it's just like a cute little sewing / fall motif kind of a thing. So very fun, very cute. I'm not thrilled that I have made such a mess and now I have to clean it up. C'est la vie. But yeah, that's just about everything. I don't think I can go on anymore to recap Stitch North. All I can say is I had a really great time. I spent a lot of time with a lot of fun people. We had so much fun together. I'm so excited for StitchCon Weekend A so that I can see, like, I think most of us are all going again. So it's going to be really fun. I'm very excited. My voice is killing me. I spent less than I expected to, which was good because the nice thing is, I don't know if it's nice, but you know, the Canadian dollar to US dollar conversion, you go over and they're like, everything's called dollars. So you're just like, oh, wow, it's kind of steep. And then you charge your card and then it hits in US dollars and you're like, wow, I just saved like $20. And I'm like, somebody at the table was like, that's girl math right there. Because it's like, bro, just do the conversion in your head. But it's hard when they're both called dollars. So it's like your brain just kind of thinks in like your dollars. So when the half yards of fabric were in Canadian dollars, I think they were like 70 something dollars. And I was like, whew, man, that's steep. And then it charged to my card in US dollars. And I was like, ooh, I should go buy like 5 more. What? And then even when I came home, I told Rob, I was like, yeah, it was really nice because it's like you see the price in Canadian and then it charges to the card in US because my phone gets a notification every time I use my card. And he was like, yeah, you're basically saving money at that point. And he was serious. And I was like, oh, okay. The man subscribes to Girl Math. Perfect. So, oh, there were a couple other things I bought. Hang on. So after Stitch North, I'll just run through these really quick. Tara was telling me about this advent calendar that she ordered through Etsy from Crafty Gurumi. And it's like a advent for cross stitch stuff. And she was saying how like super personalized, you get like a questionnaire and it asks you all these questions. And I was like, since I saved so much money at Stitch North, thank you to the Canadian US conversion rate, I ended up ordering that, so I'm excited for that. And then I did last night finally ordered my Jingle Ball ticket so that I could get my my little, what do you call it? The pattern that I wanted to get. They're doing, it's like a little 3D gingerbread house. And so then because I did that, I was like, well, I have to get fabric. So I made an order on 123 Stitch, and I picked out a really fun fabric. It was a 32 count crystal gingerbread Belfast linen. And the dyer is Picture This Plus. So it's like a nice gingerbread color, but then it's got like the opalescence running through it. And I was like, that is going to be so fun or so hard to use. I haven't decided. And then I bought some small cuts of just plain white Lugana and plain white linen because I was like, I kind of want to try dyeing those, but I don't know if I want to invest in like a huge cut of either before I decide if because I like dyeing Ada, but I'm scared to dye like linen and like Luganas and even weaves and all that because I'm like, they cost a lot more than Ada. So if you mess up, it's all over. And then they were having a sale on Heart and Hand patterns, and they had these goofy like long-legged birds. So I bought this one called Stitching Bird, which I will pop up a picture here, but they had like one for every holiday. And I also couldn't help myself, and I added this ABC of Cowboy with a horse charm, and this is a pattern from Fairy Wool in the Wood, and I just thought it was really cute. I just like cowboy. I like cutesy cowboy stuff. And then I was like rewatching some of the like beginning Hathaway Stitchers Flosstubes because I just like running stuff in the background while I'm working. And Amity had talked about this like German bird book that she was looking for, and I immediately Googled it and I was like, these are so cute. And I found a really cheap PDF, so I just bought that too. And here's what that book looks like, and I can't wait to stitch some of these birds. And I think that's everything I bought. So plans. I'm going to start Colors of Mexico today. I'm not going to clean this mess up. I'm just going to leave this room and pretend like it's not here. And I'm just going to start Colors of Mexico and do nothing for the rest of the day. And then I want to put in some work on the sals that I started earlier this year at StitchCon, and then the house that I started at Stitch North. Once my fabric comes in from 123 Stitch, I need to immediately hit the ground running on that gingerbread house because I want to be able to finish along with the class. And it says that they're releasing like, I can't remember if it's a 3 or 4 additional patterns at Jingle Ball that will use that same finishing technique. So I'll probably buy all those in December. And then if I manage to get through all of that stuff, I might actually start my Shepherd's Books bush stocking like for real, because I've started it approximately 3 times before I realized that like first I didn't place it on the fabric correctly, and then I like started it again. And then I think it was like the second time that I realized I was like, this fabric isn't even big enough. So I had to buy a bigger piece of fabric for it. And then I was like super tempted by the Stitch Sprout Sal. And I was like, I need to maybe rejoin their Patreon and check that out. But I don't know if I need that in my life right now because I've already got so many other projects that I want to start and work on. So I don't know. I'm still deciding on that one. So yeah, that's it. That's the video. I can't talk anymore. I feel like I'm gonna die. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions about Stitch North or anything like that, just drop them down in the comments. I know I didn't like go in depth, but I'm happy to type them to you instead of speaking them to you because I can't talk anymore. I'm done talking for the rest of the day. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.